Siomra beag.
10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2,
1.
0.
It's a bloody podcast.
Podcast.
Chicka chicka.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Michaelandbenjaminspodcast. Welcome back to the tiny room. Welcome back to the digital version of On Siomra beag. I, as always, am the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast. And seeing as this week we have so much DC news, I am joined by the man who put the man into the phrase DC fan man. It's Benjamin.
That's me. One great DC fan am I.
One
yes.
fan. Ben, we're taking back the term fanboy. We're getting rid of it. You're a fan man.
It's a glow-up phrase now, ladies and gentlemen. Fan man.
Yeah,
Get on
DC
it.
fan man.
Get on it. Hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, Benjamin. I've had a headache since Tuesday, so I'm going to try not let it dampen my enthusiasm.
I've found that very few things, Michael, in my experience, and this is both a compliment and an insult, can dampen or wet your spirits.
I'm like a dog, Ben. I don't really understand the world around me. As long as I'm getting comic book news, I'm excited.
No. Michael was ready to go to Dublin Comic Con right before the pandemic was launched into full quarantine effect. He was like, we're going to Comic Con, we're going to Comic Con, we're going to Comic Con, we're going to Comic Con. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's my doorbell. What a wonderful addition. I'm going to have to answer that because there's nobody else here. So just give me 1 second.
All right.
Just mark that time down there.
Don't pause it. Don't pause it. It's all right. I'll just fill. So yeah, Ben, he's going to answer the door. Presumably it's someone delivering hot comic book news. So when he comes back, he'll have all of the latest sweet information about new releases and whatnot. Here he is.
That was gold. It was gold.
Who was it, Ben? Was it someone delivering gold?
It was my sister. Sister.
Classic Ben's sister.
One Benjamin's sister, please. Yeah, that was it. Sorry, Michael. I'm sure you lambasted me there to the listeners.
I filled the gap beautifully, Ben. Benjamin. Speaking of filling a gap beautifully, do you want to stick in some theme music for us there?
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
Very good. Benjamin, now all joking aside, there has been a lot of news this week.
And we have to take that very seriously.
I don't think we should start the podcast with the phrase "all joking aside." It possibly sets the wrong tone.
Yes, that really gets rid of quite a bit of our audience.
Yeah, Ben,
right
with
off
some
the bat.
joking included. There's been quite a bit of news this week. Where will we start, Ben? Oh, he's gone.
I think we should probably start, Michael,
Yeah.
with a fan man triumph for fan men around the world. Bloody Michael,
Yes,
if
Benjamin.
I was to say Snyder Cut, you'd say.
Snyder.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? No, Michael, this bloody Snyder Cut is set to be released. Apparently.
Well, apparently by HBO Max, Ben.
Yeah.
Whoever he is.
Yeah, bloody. It turns out the guy who owns HBO is called Max. Who knew?
Yeah, HBO Max. Yeah, he
Who knew?
changed his name legally. Benjamin, look, I think the first and most important question we have to answer in this situation is: do we care?
I don't.
Okay, good. I don't terribly either, but I will obviously watch it, Ben.
I think, Michael, I still have not seen the non-Schneider version of Justice League.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
You have. We've talked about it.
I've seen clips. I have not seen the full movie.
God.
I have never sat down once and watched that full movie. Michael, I think this sets a bloody. Well, look, the first people that I feel sorry for here, Michael, are the fan men.
The fan
Because
men, yeah.
and
the fan women, Ben.
And the fan women.
Yeah.
I think they're setting themselves up for a brand new disappointment. I think the Snyder Cut worked better in their imaginations.
Oh, of course it did.
And I'm not certain, Michael, that this is going to be the holy grail they expect it to be.
Yeah. Basically what it's going to be, Ben, is going to be the same film but with more scowling.
A lot more scowling and a few more slow-mo shots in there for good measure.
They're going to digitally add scowls to Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not,
all.
Ben, because they've already filmed him scowling.
Yeah, so they can just use a few B cuts of Henry Cavill giving out a scowl.
I mean, it could really be quite different. He did leave it quite early in the process.
Yeah, true.
Like all that stuff, all that Kevin Feige stuff, like rescuing that Russian family. Oh, you haven't seen it. Yeah, it could be quite different. It's a weird precedent to set, though, isn't it?
That's the thing. They have just bowed to fan demand in a very. I didn't even realize it was still a thing.
Oh yeah, it's a big thing.
I thought that had died a death.
Well, it kind of had until it got Cavill, Gadot, and Affleck on board.
Yeah, and also Jason Momoa, who was like, "Woo!"
Yeah, I'll do ADR.
Yeah.
So they're coming back from ADR apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going to get
for the listeners, can you explain ADR, please?
Additional dialogue recording, Ben. So let's
go.
say they don't have a line to explain why Batman's going to the cave. They'll get Affleck in, and Affleck will say, "So let's go to the cave." And then instead of showing him speaking, Ben, because they don't have the clip of him saying it, they'll fade away, or they'll show someone else reacting to it or something like that.
And that's a tidy little paycheck for Ben Affleck in his back pocket.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's all sorts of rumours swirling around. Earlier in the week, there were rumours that HBO Max was going to include a budget for some reshoots.
What?
Yeah, now it wouldn't be battle scenes or action scenes or anything, but, maybe a reshoot or two of Affleck standing in a warehouse saying something.
What?
But Ben, so much of that movie is reshot. I think I'm far from looking forward to it, but I do think it's fascinating to see essentially the same footage being used to make what they're claiming will be a very different film.
And Michael, they stand to make a lot of money.
Do they?
I think they will. I think if they release that, I think my theory is,
yes,
they're banking on the Sonic effect, and that's what I'm going to brand it as.
Right,
where Sonic kind of gave into fan demand and reanimated Sonic and did all that.
Yeah.
And saw an exponential growth in sales that they probably wouldn't have gotten
because
they not given in.
Goodwill.
Yes, because they've harvested goodwill. I'm going to use the word harvested, Michael, because like the one you used is very positive. I think this is a very cynical corporate move.
They've harvested the fan men's goodwill.
Yes, the harvesting of fan men could be our first ever high concept sci-fi novel. But yeah, so I think they're kind of banking on a little bit of a Sonic effect. Let's call it a Sonic bounce. I think that's got a nicer
we
ring
could call
to
it a Sonic boom, Ben.
Ding. But
that would make more sense, Ben, because it's a thing.
We'll do now. We'll do it. So they're banking on the Sonic boom. My idea totally came up with that right off the cuff. And I don't think it's going to pay off. I think the fan men of DC are much angrier than the Sonic fan men.
Sonic fan men are a bit weird, though, aren't they? Even for us, those Sonic fan men, they freak us out.
That's such a weird community, man. Anyway, it has set a strange precedent because the Save Daredevil hashtag has started trending again.
Of course, yeah.
Because I don't think fan men realize that Marvel and DC are not the same company, nor do they.
They are, Ben. It's one giant corporate conglomerate, really, at the end of the day, isn't it? It's one big entertainment-shaped money hoover.
Yeah, but you're opening a can of worms that you maybe can't put back in the box.
The Earthworm Jim fandom.
Yeah. The cans. That's what they're called.
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim. What a show. Anyway, that hashtag has started trending, and I think it's only a matter of time before we kind of see shoot season 8 of Game of Thrones again, or
that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
See, that's what I mean. You're tread softly.
Yeah. There was one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer I didn't like. I'd like to see them redo that one.
I'd like to see that redone.
Yes, please.
And it's not like casts won't get behind that. Because
they love money too.
Because they love money, you see.
Yeah. And fame.
I think the whole COVID-19 affair is probably compounding this because studios are looking for new avenues to make cash.
Mm.
And re-releasing your stuff is a pretty cost-effective way to make cash. Like it's a good way to drum up some biz. I don't know. It's going to be messy. I think it sets a poor precedent.
Everyone has to stop making precedents up in their residence. Breathe and stop for real. That's Q-Tip, Ben, from the late 90s.
Thanks.
Benjamin, speaking of a lack of new content, Benjamin,
Go on.
the DCs, the old CW, your favourite, the DCCW.
The disco
They've done
convention.
they've done a new show, Ben.
Bloody new show, Michael.
Yeah, Buffy the Miles Morales, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait to watch it, Michael. It's a bit
Yeah,
confusing. It's starring the world's first transgender superhero.
No, what are you talking
Morales. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
I didn't know where you were going with that. Benjamin.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sorry, I've kind of jumped the order a bit there. Sorry, but
that's why I was
Ben.
confused.
Anyway, look, they've done a pilot and it's been released for Stargirl.
Stargirl. She's
Yeah.
Can I use an expletive?
Yeah.
She's a motherfucking Stargirl. Stargirl. That's a
Very
fun pop music reference that's about 3 years out of date.
Oh, good. Well, mine was 20 years out of date, so I think that's fair. Benjamin, why don't you very briefly tell us who even is Stargirl?
It's bloody Stargirl is Courtney, and I can never remember her name.
Courtney Court.
Courtney Court, we're going to call her that. A young high school lady who inherits the
Yeah.
staff of Starman. Not
Yeah.
to be confused with Starboy, because we're having glow-up terms today. Starman. So she inherits this kind of magical rod that she can ride around on.
Very suggestive, Ben.
Oh, God. I didn't write it. So anyway, it's got a whole bunch of power within.
Yeah,
bloody-
she can fly.
She can fly. She can shoot a bloody hard light projection.
A beam,
She can have a beam, a ray, something like that. And unfortunately, Michael, she's very, very young. Stargirl's only around 16 years old.
So much power.
So much power for a young lady. It would
But
be
you know what they say, Ben, with
irresponsible
Yeah. Go
for
on.
a father, say,
Yeah.
to let her out unsupervised. And
Oh,
Michael,
good. Yeah.
say what you will about the absentee fathers of the DC world, be they
Yeah.
gunned down in alleys or blown up on distant planets. But some of the ones that are still around, whoa, do they take their duty seriously? So her father builds a bloody suit. It's big old Tony Stark Mark I Iron Man armor kind of deal.
Yeah.
And he goes out and fights crime with her. Give her a hand.
Yeah. As Stripes.
As Stripes. And together they form the incredibly Donald Trump favourable Stars and Stripes.
Stars and Stripes. Benjamin, so they have a TV show of that very thing now.
Yes, they've
And
gone and made one.
Yeah, and they got made. But the first thing about it is they've really done some quite serious casting for the CW.
No way.
They've got bloody Luke Wilson.
What?
Yeah, Luke Wilson plays the robot dad. Wow. No, not Luke Wilson. Owen Wilson.
It's not
Luke
Owen
Wilson.
There's no way
Luke
it's
Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Owen Wilson is
Wilson.
A-lister.
Yeah.
Luke Wilson is B-lister. Come on, get out of town.
And Starman, Ben, the original owner of the shtick, he's played by Joel McHale.
Joel McHale.
Looks like Joel McHale in a bloody Captain America cosplay.
Excellent.
And he'd be a fine Captain America if he had a wig. He's got a bit of a receding hairline. It's very strange. But Ben, the what am I saying? The opening scene, Ben. The opening scene is bloody spectacular.
Is it really
Some
good?
of the best. Oh yeah, I mean, there must have been as much budget put into this opening scene as some of the entire other DC shows.
Yeah, the Supergirl. The
It's a
entire
battle-
season of last
Yeah.
season of Supergirl.
Yeah, it's a battle scene where the Justice House, what's it called, Ben?
Justice
The
Society.
House. Yeah, the Justice Society's house is attacked by the bad Justice Society.
It's Justice.
Or the-
Is it the Justice Hall? The Hall of Justice.
The Hall of... Well, it's just a house. It's someone's house. It's Starman's house, I think.
Justice
But
Gaff.
Justice Gaff. And it's attacked by the bad people. And among the bad people is like a comics accurate Solomon Grundy.
No.
Yeah. And there's a whole big fight scene, and there's special effects and graphics, and it's quite spectacular.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really good.
All for that.
Yeah, the show itself is fine, but the opening scene, Mamma Mia,
Yeah.
Sono
Chef's
Italiano di
kiss.
Milano. Yeah.
Yeah, chef's kiss. That sounds
Nom,
good,
nom, nom.
Michael. But bloody,
Yeah, give it- Go on, roll your eyes over it.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to.
For
Michael.
some TV superhero action.
That's mad. Sticking with DC news, and more importantly, lady-led DC news. More importantly, lady-led DC CW news.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of a shake-up, Michael, in the old Batwoman universe.
I'm bloody telling you, Ben.
I bloody fucking tell you. Yeah, it's mental. It turns out that Ruby Rose will be stepping down as Batwoman at the end of the season. Well, she has stepped down. Already.
Ben, she's the main character.
Yes, and rather controversially, Michael, she's to be recast.
Yeah. Weird.
The really strange thing here, Michael, is that it didn't do terrible.
The TV show?
The show has been well received.
Medium received.
Medium received. That's all
medium
CW
received.
needs. That's all CW's ever needed.
It is a bizarre turn of events, though, that the rumour mill, Ben, is that she wasn't fired, and it was a mutual decision. She just hated it, apparently.
Oh.
They said.
I find that Ruby Rose seems to have a very high opinion of where she's going to get her next acting job from.
It's very interesting, because she's not really much of an actress, Ben, let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if she can afford to be choosy in her roles.
But maybe acting isn't for her, Ben. Maybe acting as a lead on a TV series isn't for her. But they're going to recast it, Ben, and that led me to think: has such a thing ever happened before?
Oh, I think almost definitely, hasn't it?
Well, the case that jumps to mind is Spartacus.
Now you see, I have never been embroiled in the Spartacus fracas like you have.
Spartacus,
but
Ben,
go on.
Andy Whitfield was the original Spartacus.
Classic Andy Whitfield,
and he left because he had leukemia, I think, and unfortunately died.
Jesus!
Ben. Yeah, and he
Michael.
had to be recast. Yeah, it was it's a much grimmer story than Ruby Rose doesn't like the schedule, but that was a pretty successful recasting. And
yeah, but that casting had zero choice involved, Michael.
There was very little choice involved in that, but it was a pretty successful recasting, and they cast a guy who they didn't go for identical. They didn't just go for, we need someone who looks exactly like Andy Whitfield.
Which is a good choice.
Yeah, so the second Spartacus did look a little different. But, it worked. It was fine. It survived.
Good.
I don't know if Batgirl will be able to... Although, apparently, Ben,
it's Batwoman. It's Batwoman.
Oh, Batwoman, yeah. Batgirl is the one in purple.
You're getting us in trouble. Jesus.
No, there's a Batgirl.
There's a Batgirl and a Batlady and a Batwoman.
She wears purple, yeah.
And a Bat-cousin and a Bat-uncle and, all the other bats.
Dog. Yeah.
Bat-dog.
But apparently, Ben, they're to recast her, and this is another one of those moments where the discussion of it is going to cause more controversy than the thing itself. They're recasting as a member of the LGBTQ community.
They're requesting someone?
No, they're that's how they're going to recast. The new Batwoman must be a lesbian.
As in the actress?
Yes.
That's strange, isn't it?
Well, look, Ben, it is what it is.
Are you allowed to do that? Is that okay?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's an argument to be made that might be discrimination, but...
Far be it from us to weigh in on that one, Michael.
It's a bloody hornet's nest, Ben. It's a hornet's nest of politics.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's...
Look, do what you want. I'm not watching it anyway.
Michael, tell me, just out of morbid curiosity, who would you recast as a tough, take no nonsense lady to be a Batwoman?
I don't know, because A, I didn't watch a lot of it, so I don't know what way they really took the character.
Okay, fair enough.
And B, Ruby Rose is a bit of a blank slate. She can kind of do sarcastic.
She can be very easily replaced.
Yeah, so she can be. It really depends on what way they want to go with it. I wouldn't, to be honest, if I had any influence on this decision, say the best way to go is with another name. I'd say get an unknown.
Get an unknown, just slot it in.
Yeah.
I hear Amber Heard's looking for work. But anyway.
But Amber Heard is also a bisexualist, and if you remember, it was Ruby Rose being a bisexualist.
There's my dog. Hang on. I'm
fine.
gonna mute mine. You spin your wheels.
No, people love the dog. It's one of the most popular segments on the podcast. Amber Rose or Ruby Rose. Amber Rose. Is that someone else? Ruby Rose being a bisexualist was part of the backlash against Batwoman because Batwoman's a lesbian, not a bisexualist.
Yes, but I wasn't aware that you had to. It's acting, Michael. It's pretending.
Ben. Oh, look, there's no place for your politics here, Ben.
I don't know if that's politics, Michael.
It is, Ben. It's social, political, gender politics. That's
I'm gonna stay.
There's no place for your opinion in this, Ben.
Okay,
They'll let them cast whatever they want. It's none of our business.
None of our beeswax.
Yeah, none of our business. But I mean, if I watch the show, I think I'd feel more strongly about it either way. But otherwise, now it's just a bit of interesting trivia.
Yeah, well, it's just as things go.
Yeah.
Speaking of people going against character, Robert Pattinson. I find this quite entertaining.
Oh, this is brilliant! Yeah, this is
Robert Pattinson has refused to work out for the role of Batman.
Yeah, he's just smoking fags and having burgers and stuff. It's hilarious.
It's my favorite thing ever because he didn't want to set a precedent.
Yeah, good lad. And Zoe Kravitz apparently working out like 5 times a day. And Robert Pattinson's like, no, I'm English. I'm not going to work out to play Batman. I'm bloody English. I'm Robert Pattinson.
Nobody wants Batman for his body. That's strictly true, Rob.
In fairness, Ben, when did Batman become ripped on screen? I think it was Christian Bale.
It was Christian Bale, yeah, definitely.
Because Michael Keaton definitely wasn't ripped.
George Clooney definitely wasn't ripped.
George Clooney wasn't ripped. Val Kilmer is more potato than man.
At this point, yes.
Yeah, he was in better shape back then, obviously. But none of them were in what we now consider Batman shape.
Yeah, no, but Christian Bale was Batman shape.
Christian Bale was. Affleck wasn't, though, was he?
No. He looked like he could at least lift a bit of weight.
Yeah. He had a bit of shape to him, but he wasn't...
I wouldn't say he wasn't shredded, no.
He wasn't Chris Hemsworth.
No, nobody's Chris Hemsworth.
Or Captain America.
Maybe they can just get Chris Hemsworth in to do the body plates and then CGI Robert Pattinson's head on.
I think Chris Hemsworth's too big to be Batman. Batman's supposed to be about 6'2", isn't he?
I don't know. I've never given much thought. His height is so variable, Michael.
Yeah.
It really depends on the story.
They want.
Yeah. Sometimes they like to make him taller than Superman. If you have a real Batman fanboy in your hands, he'll make him a little bit taller than Superman just to show, he's an alien from another world, but Batman's tall.
Wasn't Affleck taller than Cavill in the scene where they met?
He was,
yeah, that's true, yeah.
He was,
I don't think he is, though, really, is he?
No, but I think they might have given him a little box to
stand on this box, Affleck. It's the Bat box.
It's the Bat box. The sad thing about that, Michael, is in the Batman universe, that's not out of naming convention. That's pretty solid research there.
Get up there on the Bat box.
The Bat box. Anyway, Michael, that moves us on swimmingly to I don't know. Yes. I don't have anything else written down here. Did you have something else?
Okay. No, we're moving on to the topic of the week, I think, Ben.
A bloody topic of the week. I don't know where this one came through me, Michael. I was kind of sitting there and it struck me like a bolt of lightning from the blue.
Oh, like Shazam.
But, Michael, this week we'll be taking a look at a rather interesting topic. We're going to be looking at...
Well, that's your opinion, Ben.
It is my opinion, very much so. We're going to be looking at the kind of matches made in heaven and the matches made in hell of writer-character combos.
I see.
Basically, who wrote your favourite characters real solid like, and who did them wrong? Who did them dirty? Who did them dirty? I suppose this was probably born out of a conversation that we had after Endgame.
Marvel's Endgame.
Or Infinity War. I can't remember which one.
It was Infinity War, Ben.
One of the two denouements of the Marvel Universe. And we came out of it and we enjoyed it. We weren't together. We weren't together, Michael. I was in Italy. No, I was in Italy. And
I still remember you being there, though, Ben.
Yes, that's because I'm always with you, Michael, in some form or another.
Yes,
because you have
and emotionally
hallucinatory delusions, and that's okay. But I remember distinctly coming out of it and going, "Hey, that was great. But what happened to Star-Lord?"
Yeah,
and we were sitting there and going,
he became a bit of a Jessup, didn't he?
Just a bit of a tool.
Yes, that's
an all-round donkey.
Yeah,
if you will,
mule.
And one of the things that rather irritated me about that, I think the core of the character from the Guardian of the Galaxy films is, yes, he's a bit of a donkey, but he's a very effective donkey when he wants to be. He had a touch of the Jack Sparrows about him.
Yeah. Not quite as extreme as Jack Sparrow, but...
No, but being a fool served a purpose for him.
Yeah.
And that's the way it worked. And then the Russos got their old mitts on him, And the Russos just seem to go, well, we need someone to fuck up the whole Thanos Phase 1 plan.
Yeah.
Let's bloody make it Star-Lord.
Funnily enough, Ben, so in part 1, for the people who have short-term memory loss, like Adam Sandler in the film 51st Dates.
Other way around.
Is it not Adam Sandler?
No, it's Drew Barrymore.
I've never seen it.
It's a great
have
film.
Maybe
Great
I forgot.
film. Hey!
Yeah. See, I've done a bit. I've rescued my mistake back as a bit. Ben, but I actually didn't... Ben, you know, so I like Star-Lord, especially in Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
He's bloody excellent.
One of my favourite characters, Ben. One of my first ever, I would say, actual cosplays.
Yes, you nailed it.
It was a Halloween costume, Ben, but it was my introduction to the idea of trying to dress up as characters for realsies.
And you did a wonderful job, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Benjamin. It was quite enjoyable. I spent way too long on that stupid-ass helmet. But look, I'm a big Star-Lord fan, Ben. I would say that the original Guardians of the Galaxy is still in my top 3 Marvel films, probably.
Fair. Yeah, I watched it the other day with my father. Enjoyed it immensely. What an excellent film.
We Are Groot.
We Are Groot.
Exactly, Ben. So, you know, great film. Love Star-Lord. Great character. Very funny, but also undeservedly confident, but also competent.
Yes, competently overconfident.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, he's useful in a fight. He can hold his own against the likes of everyone else on the team.
Yeah.
You know, he does all right. By Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he's starting to become the butt of the joke more and more.
For some reason.
Well, the fact, I think, that Chris Pratt got put on a bit of weight didn't help.
Yeah, maybe they had to rewrite it a touch.
Yeah, it makes him look more comical. So there are a couple of lines... Oh, no, hold on. That's Infinity War, isn't it?
That's Infinity War. He puts on the weight. Yeah.
He put on the weight in Infinity War. And that's when he starts becoming the butt of the joke. So I actually had no problem with the scene where he loses his temper and ruins the plan because the love of his life has been killed.
Fair.
Fine. I think that's fine. But stuff like you're one sandwich away from being fat... It's a bit of a dig at the character. But, Ben, I thought the biggest injustice that they did to Star-Lord in those 2 films was when they do the time travel in Endgame.
Oh, yeah!
And when they're doing the time travel, it goes back to Star-Lord's iconic scene, which is him dancing through the planet Morag.
Yeah, come and get your love now.
Come and get your love. And then he gets the orb and he escapes from the bloody
planet.
People pursuing him using his ingenuity, a bit of luck,
and some
panache.
Technology. Real panache.
And then War Machine sees him, says, so he's an idiot, and knocks him out with one punch.
Yeah, they did him dirty.
And that scene was a much bigger doing him dirty than an in-character reaction to... Like, imagine if they did a time travel scene and they went back to Iron Man in the cave and he was building the Iron Man suit and then a character from the future said, that's barely bulletproof, and shot him through the chest.
Oh, you'd never get away with that with Tony Stark. But
then said, like, look at this dumb suit. Boom, dead.
Dunzo.
Like, that scene. Not the bit where I have no issue whatsoever with the scene where he loses his rag with Thanos and starts smacking him in the head. I actually think that's great and in character. And, you know, Doctor Strange knew it was going to happen and it had to happen. So, all that jazz. Good, fine. But that scene where he's doing his iconic dance that introduced us to the character and made him a beloved character, and War Machine, who is a supporting character...
Yeah, and not deserving of that kind of...
Yeah, he's
now
not
there's
Iron
a man
Man.
with unearned confidence.
And he goes, so he's an idiot, and then clocks him. One punch.
That's it. That's all it took.
Yeah. Very bad.
Very mean.
He doesn't wake up and try and get, like... The Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy would have woken up from that. He was wearing a helmet, wasn't he?
No, I think he has the helmet off at that point.
Maybe he has the helmet off. But he would have woken up from that and by hook or by crook, gotten that orb back from Nebula and War Machine.
Which quite possibly would have made a more interesting scene.
A much more interesting scene.
Especially with Nebula. You could have more of that.
Although
New
he doesn't
Nebula
know
versus
Nebula
old Nebula.
He doesn't know Nebula by that
he would
point.
have some awareness of... Isn't everybody aware of Gamora and Nebula in some form? As the daughters of Thanos?
He doesn't know Gamora when he meets her because she manages to trick him and kick him in the nuts. And
No, that's true. That's true.
But remember that, where she kind of flirts with him, kicks him in the nuts, steals the orb and legs it.
And he refuses to give up.
And he refuses to give up, and he catches her a couple of times, and she gets the upper hand, and he gets the upper hand, and then Rocket and Groot get involved, and
then it's all done by a Deus Ex bloody machina.
But then it's all done by War Machine going, so he's an idiot, and punching him once.
Yeah,
that's how they did him dirty, Ben.
I think
that's how they did him dirty, not the scene with Thanos.
So basically,
yes.
Oh, they did him dirty. Hopefully,
yeah.
I don't know. Can he be redeemed? Guardians of the Galaxy 3, bit of redemption there.
Well, it depends how much they bring Thor in.
Is he going to be a big part, do you think? He probably is he?
Yeah. Although now with Thor 4 happening, I don't know.
Love and Thunder.
I'm loving that thunder, Ben.
I'm loving that thunder, bro.
Anyway, I'm finished talking about Star-Lord now.
Yeah, anyway. It's a good point, though. Good point. That brings us on to maybe a better pairing, Michael. You kind of brought us nicely into that. Even subconsciously, you're giving us buttery smooth segues.
Even subconsciously.
Now, Michael, if I were to tell you that Kenneth Branagh was going to direct a superhero movie, what would you say?
I would say, verily does not sound like a great idea.
Yeah, you'd be right, Michael, because you'll remember that the first Thor movie was a bloody disaster.
Disagree.
Okay. I think you'll find, in general, didn't launch the character in the way they had hoped. Let's put it that way.
No, disagree.
Okay. Do you want to
disagree? The first Thor was very successful. Maybe not one of the all-time classics, but I mean, I honestly can't think of a better way to introduce the whole idea of that character to the world.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, you can have your opinion, Ben. That doesn't mean you're wrong.
I don't want my opinion anymore. It's done.
No. Give your opinion.
No, the crux of all great podcasting is simply to agree with your co-host on everything. No, in general, Michael, I think it's a little bit grandiose, a little bit play-acty, and it rings a touch hollow on occasion. If I had one great criticism of Thor number 1, formulaic would be the term I would throw around the most.
Plot-wise.
Yeah, like the supporting characters, Darcy, the Doctor, stuff like this. Strange little additions here and there. It's a little bit formulaic. But then, Michael, they go and bloody burn the turkey when they move all that over to London for a quick Thor 2 sequel.
Oh, yeah, no good.
And that one, along with its big CGI monster madness, red misty thing, is no good, Michael.
It's pretty boring.
It's very dull.
The biggest criticism you can level against that film is you could just ignore it and it's fine.
Yes, and it could be utterly forgettable.
Yeah.
And Michael, that doesn't usually bode well for a threequel, because really, if you haven't built up enough investment in the character or anything like that, or if it doesn't have any lasting cultural footprint, so to speak, you can't really bank on people coming in. So what do you do, Michael, with the title that you're not really sure what to do with? You give it to a bloody independent director who's never done a superhero movie to save their lives, but
some sort of auteur.
Some kind of auteur with a real style and an excellent sense of humour. And you go and you find them somewhere that maybe is very close to where the original star's home is. Maybe they might be neighbours in a kind of geographic sense.
I see what you're saying, neighbours.
Hey.
Or they might be home and away. No,
home and away. Anyway. Anyway, they go and find Taika Waititi, and they just say, do you know what, do what you like. Can't be much worse than what we just did. Have at. And Michael, for a man from New Zealand, he sure knows how to hit a home run. Ooh. He knocked that one out the park. Cause
I don't get the joke.
Baseball's not very popular in New Zealand.
Oh, is that it? That was the joke. Okay, I did get it. I did get it.
It was just a bad joke. Boy, did he hit it out of the park, Michael. Thor Ragnarok is easily in my top 3 favorite Marvel movies of all time. The humor is there all of a sudden, something that had been sorely missing in number 2. And it's just hilarious. And he does something that I think a lot of Marvel movies hadn't really risked before that. Well, I think Guardians of the Galaxy probably set the way. And then they realized, we can be very colourful in the cosmic version of this world. And let's lean into the whole Thor's an alien thing and mess around with that a little bit. And that's exactly what they did, Michael.
And not be afraid to change the status quo.
Yeah, let's just throw everything that we already built on kind of out the window.
Yeah, Asgard gone, Hammer gone, Odin gone.
Oh, let's nuke it all.
Get rid of it all.
He went for the nuclear option, and it was bloody great, Michael.
Big rock men in.
Big rock men totally in. I mean, Groot kind of paved the way for that. You can have huge, outlandish comedic relief.
CG characters. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. So, I mean, there's a pair that just really work well. Thor and Taika Waititi. Boom. What a match made in heaven. But Michael,
you've gone. Right, go on.
I think really another one that kind of I sank my teeth in, and one that caused a lot of furore in the community at the time, was Man of Steel. The ending scenes of Man of Steel between Zod and old Clarky Kent.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone who hasn't seen that film, first of all, don't. You can just leave it. It's grand. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. He might be coming back in the Snyder Cut, Ben, so you need to know about his backstory.
No. Anyway, if you have seen it, you'll know there's a rather infamous scene at this point at the end where rather than take the risk of having Zod destroy the city even more, Superman opts to take his life in a rather graphic manner, Michael.
He breaks his neck. He does a Hollywood neck break.
Trip. And snappity-doo. And it's done. That movie has many flaws. But this seems to be the one that really stuck it to the fanboys. Fan men. That seems to be the one that really stuck it to the fan men. They got really irked by this writing of it. And David S. Goyer is the guy that wrote it. And he just... People were just outraged. He's known as the big...
like it, Ben.
He's known as the Big Blue Boy Scout, and obviously DC.
David S. Goyer.
Yes, he's known as the Big Blue Boy Scout. And DC was obviously going for their darker, grittier universe vibe, but you can't really do that with Superman. He means quite a bit to many people.
People didn't like it, Ben.
No, they were outraged that he did this, even though he's done that before. He kind of kills Zod in the original Christopher Reeve sequel as well.
No, he sends us to the negative zone.
Yeah. But yeah, so we didn't have any of that. They weren't introducing any of that. I thought initially when Russell Crowe was giving it all that, and I'm doing the mouth.
The jibba jabba, yeah.
The jibba jabba mouth.
The jibba jabba hand, yeah.
I thought he was going to point Clark in the direction of the Phantom Zone projector. It's technology we used for our worst criminal, son. Pointed at him. He didn't. So Superman is just left there, kind of having to go snippety snappity. Let's get at it.
Let's get rid of this guy. He's a bit of a prick.
And he also destroys the entire city. He doesn't move it outside of, a big old city.
He's a young and naive Superman, Ben.
He's a young and naive Superman, but
people didn't like it.
People didn't like it. The only time I saw that kind of really aggressive reaction was when Cap said "Hail Hydra" at the end of that now infamous run on Marvel
comic books. Yeah.
I mean that was one for me.
There's something about films, the film version of heroes, that people seem to take much more.
Yeah.
Like it's set in stone. Like when Cap joined Hydra or was always Hydra, people went, yeah. Well, people in the know went, yeah, that'll last a few years and then everything will be back to normal.
It'll be grand.
But people, Ben, who are into comic book films, but possibly not as much as us, people I know, Ben, they know me and they know I watch these films.
Did they?
And they were awash with, what did you think of Man of Steel? That wasn't my Superman.
It's not my Superman.
Hashtag not my Superman. I think it predates hashtag not my president.
Probably. More than likely.
I don't know. I can't remember. But there was a real visceral reaction to that. People were like, this isn't Superman. No, Get rid of it.
People were not best pleased, Michael.
Good example, Ben.
So that was the one that really got the ball rolling on that one. You had a few more there.
Did I?
Michael, and when people... Well, let's do a few of the listeners before we do that. Ladies and gentlemen, you seem to be very... into kind of venting about this mishandling of your favourite characters.
That's what this episode is about, Ben. Look, we're all in quarantine. Their nerves are getting frayed. People
Apparently.
want a chance to give out about stuff.
So, Agent Delta, who is a wonderful cosplayer here in Dublin, Agent
I
Delta...
think he's from Belfast, Ben.
A wonderful cosplayer who occasionally comes down here to do cosplay, gave us one. Everything Fox has ever done with the Marvel characters, they've made movies out of. X-Men, Fantastic Four, and to a lesser extent, Daredevil. He just feels that they
did him dirty.
They did him all dirty. I mean, latex PVC Daredevil was my cup of tea, but, you know...
That was leather, Ben. That was a leather suit.
No, it was latex
and trust
PVC.
me, it wasn't. As a man who knows his materials...
You are.
And I am, Ben. It was leather.
I think...
But I actually quite like that film, funnily enough.
I see. You just like the Farrell. You just like watching Colin Farrell.
I do like watching Colin Farrell going, I want a bleeding suit. I never miss. The devil made me miss.
Classic.
That's my Colin Farrell bullseye impression. Classic. I also like the sexy fight scene in the park.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the sexy fight scene in the park.
But I somewhat agree with good old Agent Delta. But you know, there is, on the other hand, there are some good moments. Logan is pretty good.
Yes, Logan. Yeah,
Logan.
That was pretty good.
Deadpool
that was right at the end of their entire run.
Deadpool is pretty true to the character.
Yeah. Sometimes to its detriment.
Yeah, I thought they've never done Nightcrawler dirty. Nightcrawler has generally been pretty good in those movies.
He was quite solid, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was, and
so...
I think the only reason he didn't come back for X-Men 3 was because Alan Cummings didn't like the makeup.
That's fair.
Yeah, so it is majorly it is a bit of a shit show.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I think Fantastic Four might be the real peak of that shit show, where they did it twice and fucked it twice.
Yeah, but one of the best things about Fantastic Four is how it really focuses on Sue Storm having to get naked in various situations.
No, that's something that appeals to you, Michael, not necessarily to the general fan base.
And the other fan men.
And the other fan men. Oh,
I should point out, Ben, that...
It's just taken on a very sinister tone. Our new term has just taken on a very sinister tone.
I should point out, Ben, that it didn't appeal to me. I found it quite exploitative, even as a younger man watching it, going, why does Jessica Alba have to get naked in every film?
Yeah, it was in our contract, I'm fairly sure. But look,
I think it was.
Irish Fashionista 777 or 777 pointed out to us that Steve...
Another excellent cosplayer there, Ben.
Another excellent cosplayer that we've met at a few conventions mentioned that Steve Cloves, or Steve Clovis, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, butchered Ron in Harry Potter. I did a bit of research about controversy. I did a bit of research about this, Michael.
Yeah.
And having read all the books, I'm surprised it didn't jump out at me sooner. But yeah, she's absolutely right. In the film verse, Ron has most of his major character moments from the books taken away from him and evenly distributed between Hermione or Harry.
Yeah.
It just becomes this bizarre undermining of a character that's quite beloved in the books.
Yeah, but in the films, he's a dumbass.
And he gets a bit of a Star-Lord treatment.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Where he's just a bit of a dope. And I think, you know, that was both to the detriment of the character and probably to Rupert Grint as well, who of the three of them faded into more of a nothingness.
Yeah, but I mean, he was cast that way, wasn't he? He was supposed to be the kind of funny-looking ginger friend.
Yeah, but it's a shame. It's a shame. I think it's an interesting one. So I did a bit more research on that, and that has really grinded a few people's gears. There are whole communities kind of dedicated to how they would rewrite the Harry Potter movies and do Ron right.
Do Ron.
Nice. I like that.
Benjamin, now fill me in. Imagine you're Craig David from the early 2000s and fill me in on what exactly, because I'm no great Harry Potter fan of my Ben, as you know. What kind of things do Hermione or Harry steal from Ron?
So in the first example, in the first movie ever, it's, I don't have these on hand. God damn you, Michael.
Yeah, just guess.
So
I'm not. I know this is off the cuff, Ben, so I'm not expecting this to be accurate.
I think a little bit
Just
of the
in
chess, a little bit of the chess scene is nicked away in the first movie. Much of the sleuthing in the third book and film, a lot of those conclusions are drawn by Ron.
Really?
He kind of puts a lot of those pieces together.
Not Hermione.
No. He does quite a bit of work towards the end of the fourth book in helping Harry out. Not when he gets sent off to bloody Voldemort land, but in that. And then he's quite a competent wizard. That's one of the big things. He's quite a competent duelist and spellcaster. He's quite comfortable in defending himself against multiple Death Eaters and stuff. And that's never really translated, Michael. He just never gets his big moment on screen. I'm going to have to look up some of these now because it's driving me nuts.
He just kind of bumbles around the place going, ooh, ooh, Harry, Hermione, ooh. And then you're like, why does Hermione love this guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, isn't it? Like, that's... You do have to step back in the movie and go, really?
Yeah.
Really?
She loves his bumblingness, his Kim competence.
Anyway, moving on from there. We had a good friend of the podcast, Dr. Cadwell, whose episode you can check out in our Spotify. He gave us a wonderful introduction to the world of D&D.
That was good.
That was an excellent one of our better episodes. And he came one that has featured on the podcast a few times. Dirk Gently's
Holistic Detective Agency.
First season, very, very good. Second
Yes.
season, holy fuck.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
I haven't seen it.
All my days. I have, Michael, and I never talked about it on the pod because, Michael, you like to keep a positive atmosphere in the tiny room. But now I've been given license to do it, and Jesus effing Christ,
You've been given license
Michael.
by yourself now, Ben, in fairness.
Yeah, but I've given myself a topic that lets me be toxic and horrible and fanboy.
All right, go on. Go on.
But anyway, so one of the very strange things they do is they seem to undermine all this great character growth they put in the first one. And they of reset their characters to who they were before they interacted. Now they have their growth and but like Dirk Gently becomes a strange. In the first season, he's a very quirky, charismatic, kind of fly by the seat of your pants, but endearingly positive and optimistic kind of guy. And in the second season, he becomes this very unsure, shaky, kind of broken character, and it's really weird. They push the metaphysical elements of the show. If you don't know what this is, Dirk Gently is a holistic detective, and he's guided by the universe to solve cases. He's in tune with the universe, and it's supposed to be kind of a comedy. And the second season just takes all these strands of plot lines and starts roping them together. The effects budget got a serious slashing by the looks of things. And it's funny because the second season is very special effects heavy. It's set in a fantasy world inside a book. And done dirty. And it's a shame because season 1 was great and I really look forward to season 2. And I never paid past episode 3 of season 2. It's just, it lost me. To keep on our kind of literary bent, because Dirk Gently was a novel before it was anything else. Good friend of the podcast, Shane, and my nemesis, got in touch with us and said, any of the Dune sequels written by Herbert's talentless son. Which is the most shameless. That's exactly what we replied, Michael. What a hack. And he pointed that out and said that, just messy. Now, Michael, you would know that better than I, so how about you take a whirl at that one?
I haven't read most of the ones written by Christopher Tolkien. Little joke there. Did you get it?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I haven't read most of them, to be honest. I started them and went, what's this now? I don't care. But I don't know if that's the fault of the writer, although apparently, according to Shane, it is. It's that by the time you get 6 or 7 books, or however many it is, deep into a series like Dune, which is so high concept, you're like, what is this anymore? Where's the desert planet Arrakis? Where are the Fremen? What's going on? I don't like this. It's too confusing and new. Get away from me.
Bring me back my deserts, boy.
Where's the Muad'Dib? That's what I want.
Yeah, spice. Woo!
Yeah, spice must flow, Ben.
And then to bring us full circle, Michael, and give you a little bit to talk about before we end the podcast today.
All right.
Long-time contributor to the podcast, Nine Wassies, got in touch with us and
Oh,
said, Mark Miller or Grant Morrison on any 2000 AD property they did not create. So,
Yeah.
Michael, I'm bloody clueless in the world of 2000 AD. So I said...
You still can't say it, though.
What
Even
is it?
after all these
What
years,
is
you're
it?
still saying 2000 and AD.
Am I?
Yeah, still. It's
I'm going to
hilarious.
embrace it now, Michael. It's something I
It's
can't
one of your
kick.
catchphrases. Between 2000 and AD and fan men, you're really building a repertoire of catchphrases that we can use.
Bloody merch.
Yeah.
So anyway, I asked Nine Wassies with I can't say it now. I'm all self-conscious.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
I asked him to give me some recommendations, and he said Gareth Ennis did Dread well, and some Stronium Dog. Miller and Morrison Dread run was crap. Pat Mills has never let anyone else near Slain, and Nemesis.
Slán, yeah.
Slán, goodbye. The Warlock and I missed that. There's a slight typo there. Has managed to keep the quality of those characters' stories. However, as it is a weekly magazine, the quality of the anthology title is always going to be hit and miss, but the artwork generally raised the game of a substandard story. So he thinks, in general, anytime you let Miller or Morrison near something that's not theirs, they bloody wreck it.
I kind of agree, Ben. With my big bugbear with Mark Millar is that he ruined a couple of things that I liked.
Go on.
The most and it's funny because I like his original stuff. I think he suffers from a similar syndrome to Robert Kirkman.
Kirkman!
I also really enjoy Kirkman's original stuff, but oh my god, did he do the Ultimate X-Men dirty?
Oh, yeah.
No good.
No
good, Kirkman.
No good.
Get out of here.
Right.
But the reason I still have a burning hatred for Mark Miller in my heart is that when I was a teen, Ben, and my favorite comic book was The Authority, after Warren Ellis did his, I guess it was a year-long run, but it might have been more than a month between issues back then because it was a new and experimental thing.
Fair.
But Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch were replaced on The Authority, Ben, by
no good.
Mark Miller and Frank Quitely. And Mark Miller basically, I think, and who am I to put words in his mouth, but it seemed to me that he had read The Authority, and all of the little suggestions that Warren Ellis was making about their lives, he took that and dialed it up to 11.
Yeah, he did
So
crank.
they became incredibly cynical. They became bizarrely sexual.
Yeah, what was
And-
that about?
Yeah, they were all riding each other and having orgies, and they were so mean. They were so mean.
Which is the number one sin on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, they were so mean. The whole thing became so mean. They in the first arc they fought a kind of Avengers analogy, and everyone was mean and horrible. He just made
He used
everyone
rape
mean.
as a character
There's
trait,
a lot of
didn't
rape.
he?
Yeah, there's a lot of rape in it as well.
Oh,
But-
yeah. There's that weird... Oh, man. It's all coming back. Oh, no.
Everyone was mean and horrible. They rape Apollo, I think.
Yeah, somebody rapes Apollo.
Yeah, it's gross.
Because they can. It's weird.
It's gross. It's a gross comic, and I did not like it.
Yeah, only read the volume. Only read the Ellis run. Don't read the Miller stuff.
Or the new Alice stuff is pretty good too, as we said.
Stormwatch. What's it called? Wildstorm. Wildstorm.
The Wildstorm,
Storm,
isn't it?
That's it. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
The Wildstorm.
I think
The Wildstorm.
I think that brings one of our
The Wildstorm, Ben.
The Wildstorm. I think that brings one of our probably most negative episodes in a while to a close.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed that though, Michael. I think it was cathartic. I think we'll be back
Good
to
for
our
you, Ben.
old
Good for you.
optimistic
Get it
selves
out of
in
your
the future.
system.
Thank you to everybody who contributed. We really appreciate you giving us all those suggestions, and they've clearly helped us with our podcast today. But we probably haven't covered them all. Which ones did we miss, ladies and gentlemen? Have you made it to the end of the podcast? Get in touch with us and let us know what we've missed. There's a number of ways you can do that. You can find us probably quickest and easiest at seomrabeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com.
It means tiny room in Irish.
Yeah, you can engage with us there without any kind of sign up required. If you're on the gram, the Instagram, you can find us there.
It's a social media thing.
You can find us there at Seomrabeag, SEOMRABEAG.
It still means tiny room.
Yeah, it doesn't change. And then, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to us in various places, could you do us a favour? Number one,
Do us a favour.
if you're there on the Apple Podcasts, give us a review.
Give us a review. Give us a little review.
If you're listening to us on the Spotify, give us an follow and share us in your Instagram story.
Just
Or
straight
your-
onto the Instagram story.
Just straight in there. People can click a link and they can listen to us. And you can compare your notes. Who's better, Mick or Ben? You can say Ben and just don't tell Mick because it'll hurt his feelings. And then
It would actually, yeah. I think
if
it would.
I think it would most definitely. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I think if you're listening to us on YouTube, first of all, what are you bloody doing? Second of all,
Hello, Clive.
Second of all, hi Nisha. And you can leave us now a comment and subscribe and let us know how you're doing over there as well. That's it from us for this week, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't had enough of us, you can find our new issue of Collecting Issues where we'll be taking a look at bloody Low.
Yeah, it's got delayed, Ben.
It got delayed. We had a few technical issues here. Michael's had a headache all week. That's not a euphemism. But yeah, that's it from us for this week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Goodbye. I'm a vampire.
Mwahaha.
For some reason, at the end of the podcast, I've become a vampire.
Oh no. I'm glad I'm in a bloody digital tiny room.